So today is August 19th, and I'm going to do my recap for the week of the S&P 500 following the ES chart. I'm going to mark out some levels here of interest and take a look at where some possibilities are of where we are in the market right now and whether or not this could be a potential top, what to look out for in that scenario, or do we revisit the bottom, and so on and so forth. So what I did, I'm going to refine this and really more so work on the weekly. And our point of interest is going to be, again, this part of the chart right here. So beginning with the following a trail, right? So this was a level of importance. I kind of marked this as a weekly origin level, meaning that this is the level that created our move down, and more so this would have been the level that was holding everything. However, this was kind of our polarity moment of like, once we got above here, we started to exist above the chart, and once we got below, and if we're back below it, we're going to exist below it. So you can see here that this did get over it. We held it right here, came back up, tested this, got tested. We also tested the origin, creating this as the next point that needed to hold the chart up, which is a weekly. On the top side, we went up and created a weekly right here as well, which is pretty much where we're at. On the bottom side down here, during this week, I dissected this a little bit further to kind of find the more accurate levels, and I'll kind of identify those right now. So I kind of cut off the chart to this moment in time where we came down. So we're about right here. So cutting that off, and I'm going to go into the daily. So this is that weekly that I marked that we needed to get below and regain. This created a daily down here. This daily down here came back above. We tested the origin again, came back up, hit it, rejected, created this next point in the chart, which is this daily top of the wick and the bottom of the wick. Going down further to dissect this a little more. On the top side, I'm going to kind of leave that there for right now until we get to lower levels, so we can see that this next part of this was the daily, created this four ladders to this point right here, and this 4 is relatively clean. So I'm going to mark this 4, and that would be the next point right here. And then going down into the hourly, you can see the hourly does ladder right here to right here, and then again laddering it the daily right here, which was also the hourly hold back here. So that all lines up according to the hourly, making this weekly the next point that we're going to have to look at. But for now, I'm going to take a look at what happened at the bottom right here. So we had this, created this hourly that's remained untested. Going deeper into this, I'm going to chop this off from right here and go into the 15. So the hourly is also a 15, and this hourly also creates this potential 15 origin. So this 15 origin would be basically the point of where we need to break under the chart. We need to break under and hold this and close under it to begin existing below it. So I believe this is what was hit exact, if I'm not mistaken. Going back to the higher time frame just so we can see that, and the daily is down here. The daily wasn't exactly hit. So moving out of the chart, going back, closing the replay mode, you see that hit perfect right there. So going back to where we were saying, we still had, so we went into didn't quite get to the daily, but did test the wick for 1 hour. Creates a 15-minute origin, which also behaves as a 1 hour. So this tells me I'd be looking for this type of sequence up on the top. Daily hits right here, and I'm going to just follow the trail. Daily hits, creates a daily right here, which trails, I would say, to even more so over here to right here. And if we are coming back down here, we'd be looking for something in here to hold. But I'm going to, let's just do that right now. So here's the 4-hour. This daily is also a 4-hour backside. You also have this 4-hour small range down here below, which we can mark. This remains fairly untested. If we're laddering, if we're going to continue to ladder up, that would mean continue to follow this 4-hour trail, right? So we get up of it, close it, come back down, test it, creates this 4. And also this greedier 4 right here. And then this moves over to the 1, creates a 1-hour right here, which lines up basically perfectly for this backside and a front side. And then you have this laddering right here, just creating a 1-hour greedy level right here. And then on the 15, also having this 1-hour aligned with the front side 15 right here. I'd be probably looking at this level in the future. This also ladders up on the 15 right here. So I do like this backside front side, and looks relatively still untouched, but does ladder right here. If we are laddering up and this stays as the move up stays as aggressive, it could still continue to do that. So the next ladder point would be from this 15 to this 15. I think this is the next ladder. Remains still very untested. So come back down here. This holds it. Could continue, would tell us kind of succession that we're continuing to ladder up in succession. This could come down, break it, come back down here to this hourly backside or door levels, and then still come back up to reclaim it. But either way, I think we could ladder up the 15s or the hourlies down here. So this is really where I would be watching. I like this 15 more as a possible reverse level right here. Just the way we hit it, exact, let under it, come back, and then we should come back. If we're gonna hold this as well, it could be possible. I'm gonna mark this as a possible 15-minute reverse. We would have to hit this exact. So yeah, I guess it just also depends on what we end up hitting at the top. But for now, since we hit that 15 origin on the bottom, I think we're going to start looking at the top now. So going back to the high time frames, I have the weekly going into the daily, which creates, this looks kind of interesting because of the way it was created here. Creates this, holds it all the way up, comes back above, and then creates this kind of this also daily backside right here. I'm going to mark this one. This is telling me that there's some type of origin existing in here. Just the way it held it once, twice, 3 times right here. So I would be inclined to find that on the 4, which it is actually. The 4 right here lines up as an origin. I'm going to chop off the chart from right here. I have to keep going back and forth. And even diving down into the hourly, we could take it even further back to this point, possibly. But however, that hard closes right there on the hourly, so maybe even brings us to this point right here. And that lines up quite well. So I'm going to leave this there as on the daily though. It's actually depends really what got tested here. So the daily didn't exactly get hit. I think that did the hourly get hit exactly? So that's kind of also important. So I was looking at the hourly right here, that closes. That moves to right there. That doesn't quite hit. This, I would say this kind of this more so does. There could be something existing over here as well. For now, I'm going to just leave that here as a daily and then kind of go down time frame, see what else shows up. But remembering that that's also, that this is the origin. And this would be basically polarity from the top side. So if we're making polarity from the top side, we'd also need to be laddering down from here. So this gives us a few levels. I'm on the 4, comes down, gives you kind of a 4-hour backside right here, and also a 4-hour greedy point right here. Moving down into the hourly. So we saw this test happen right here. There's this hourly, actually, well, continuing up. I think this wick right here is actually the wick of the 4, which makes more sense to mark, being that it's also the backside of the 1. So the 4 and the 1 are the same, which align, creating this next part, deeper part of this one right here, which would mean we have a look into the 15. So you can see this got tested. This one that was the 15 got tested and ladders it down to right here. But the front side remains untested. So this 15 remains untested. So this ladders down to right here and creates this 15. And on the top side, I was looking for origins and I did find this one. Not mistaken, yes. So we do have this 15 origin right here, which was basically holding down this level, holding this level, creating this hold, holding it right there, creating this next in succession, creates this backside comes up, tests it, and holds right here. So there's a couple things looking at this that. So now where are we? See, actually we moving forward, came back, this 15 was tested, moves down over here to this part of the chart right there, and this remains untested. So we'll leave that marked. What does that look like on the 5? There's no 5 backside. There's a 5 right here. So I think I'm going to stick with the 15, not go down into the 5. So that leaves us with this 15 origin, which seems 15 origin, this 4-hour origin. You know what? I'm going to mark this as a 4. It is a daily. You do have this as a daily backside, but then you do have the 4-hour origin right here. So we can mark this, that as well. 1, 2, 3. Creates the origin, loses it. Or do we even want to mark it as a 1? I think this level is really important. Maybe this one, or this. Let's try to cut it off again and take a deeper look. We find anything on the 15? It's deeper. There is a 15 right here, 15 right here, this 15 right here. So it comes down, can't close it, can't close it. And then let's move forward and move to the point that the chart does come down, going back to the 15. Yeah, so this 15 does a pretty good job of holding everything up until this point. Let's get rid of that. So I like this 15. I'm going to keep it as a 15 because that means it did hit created earlier. This created earlier than everything else. So you have this 15 origin right here, which acts as an hourly, loses it, still creates this 15 that was tested. Get out of replay. So this 15 is a reverse. I believe this could be what's next in line. So yeah, I think got a couple options. This part of the range could hold it down. I'm leaning more towards this just because has been in existence for so much longer and has been basically what was holding everything up during this time period, more so than this holding things down. So you do have, so this has been just that it's been in existence, and this is what laddered it down. So if this is what laddered it down, that would mean this would be next right here, this 15, which lines up with the daily, which lines up also with this daily backside. So I'm going to move out back to higher time frames and just take a look at what this looks like. All right, so yeah, so if we did test, again, going back from the bottom, we tested day 1 hour down to the 15. We're going up daily, weekly, daily. We have weekly, daily, and then your 4-hour was actually 4-hour was also this 15 origin that I marked. So that hits on both of them. For this also hits on this, since it's the 15 is also a hourly, can be considered an hourly. So this hits on quite a lot of things. So I'm going to actually bold this. I think this is extremely important. And then from here, we ladder down. So meaning that this would ideally be next to hold things down. If this doesn't hold, that means that means the ladder breaks, which would mean that we have to go back to the base. Now the base, I suspect, is going to be created off of this, meaning that if this is the base, we hit it once right here. You can see that perfect. Second time could deep dive into it go after these levels, come back down, close, and try to close below the weekly. And then we can have maybe a third attempt where we exactly don't are not allowed, where the base actually starts to ladder down the move. So that's, I guess, what I'm looking for right now. We're getting pretty close. Right now, this is having trouble. Let's see where we are at. So this actually does continue to ladder. And you can look at this. So if we hit this daily right here, and this creates a 4, which is also in succession right here. So this 4, but this 4-hour right here ladders to right here. I would say it's actually using this backside more so than anything. The backside hits, creates this 4. This ladder is, this 4 hours did not hold it. We did close above it, creating this. What's left is this 4-hour break level. And I'm gonna take a deeper look at what this 4-hour, there's a deeper part of this. There is. So when we did ladder off of here on the 15, we actually came back up, tested, this created an hourly. So it went up in one time frame, meaning this move got stronger. So it comes up, creates this hourly, comes to test it, and that's where we are, right? And that's where this tested. This hold is also a reverse, which creates this hourly. Well, I don't think this break is too relevant. I think perhaps this is, I don't think these break levels are too relevant. Creates this hourly right here. Let's see if that makes a little, we got that. And then do we have an origin in here? Because maybe we're laddering origins. We're just creating 15-minute, another 15-minute. Is there a 15-minute in here? Is my next question. Actually, the 15-minute or the 1-hour wick. Let me cut the chart off. So does this create a 15-minute origin? Yeah, so we have a valley right here. At the 15-minute, it hits it, can't gain. Yep, we do have a 15-minute. So this is the next 15, and here's the 15 break. So there is a possibility that this also does hold it down. I guess it would also be critical to continue move up that we gain this 15 break level right here. This 1-hour, what holds it in its way is this 1-hour. So we'd have to get above here, close at 15, or it hit this 1-hour, may possibly reject pretty quickly. So there's still a lot of targets here that we could, how this could play out. I think it's just going to be a matter of watching what happens when we start to get above here. I'll get out of the replay tool. So you can see, yeah, so this 15 is now 15 origin, starting to hold that right there. It's going to keep trying for it. On the bottom side, I'm going to look at trends now. So we do have our legacy or global trend of the chart, which exists on the weekly over here. From this point to this point, don't like that this closed, or I don't like that this didn't completely respect it right here. And we actually took a dive down, and this did close on the daily. This does tell me that this could possibly begin, this trend is possibly getting, losing its strength. So something I would be a little bit cautious about. And like I says, we come down here, we have those levels that I marked. These were potential areas to long it. We got to see how that reacts at that point too. And then from here, there is a daily trend daily right here that's yet to be broken or hard closed. I can be adapted to the 4-hour for a little more accuracy than to down here. But I think at that point, getting to over here, you'd be also in a place where you'd be closing in on the daily. So if I mark this as a 4, let's just take a look really quick. And I'm going to go back to the daily and mark the daily. Because we go, oops, let's go back to the daily right here. Mark that as a daily and go back to the 4. Yeah, so we have a daily and then you have the 4. So we would need to close both of them. But if this daily just closes right here, we could also just lose this. it's basically whatever time frame closes, the higher time frame close. If we close up the daily down here, we'll come down to here. This is presumably what shouldn't hold for at least until it won't hold over the longer term, I imagine. So I'd be kind of just looking out for these two. I don't like just how they're structured so much, these two trends. So I don't have them marked. I think what I do like as a range trend though is this 4 hour, where we came down here, tested, and drove back up. I think that this trend is important. We hold this, we can continue going, we break that, maybe we come down here, or we do have some points right here where this might be able to hold it for a bit until we exhaust these levels and come down to the deeper parts. But yeah, so let's see how this goes in the meantime. Curious to see where this how this continues. This 15-minute looks promising, and yeah, I mean, I think we could. There's a possibility of us coming up testing this daily 4 hour. Um, I think and spiking up to these areas, coming back down, and continuing to hold the weekly throughout the end of the week. Yeah, so I think this is what to look out for. I think if we do lose this, we'll come down here, probably possibly try to retest these ladder points, and until we exhaust everything, we'll be able to see what gets created here. We might begin to create, I think next in line is to create I'm looking for what could create a trend over here. I think you do have this, I am looking at this trend right here, but there's not really a time frame for it. It's just kind of a very rough, dumb trend, I would call it. That's not maybe the most widest point of the chart that this could go. And this could be this is also, I think, could be used just as an indicator of which level to look at. Since we're not there yet, I do, again, this daily 4 hour, this 15-minute origin, which is an hourly, kind of all line up here. So that's where I will be looking. I hope this helps out. So I actually, a few minutes after I ended that previous section of the video, I noticed that I had left out a few things here that I caught right after. So if you recall, there was this 15-minute origin that I saw was created, which was further laddered down by a 15-minute here, and that a few minutes have passed, and you can see that actually marked these levels, and those were the levels that held it down. So apparently we are laddering these 15-minute origin levels. So one was created about here, the next one was created right here, and I just noticed as well that the next one was actually just created right here. So there is a ladder down happening. Let me get this, just delete this right now. And this 15-minute, you can see it, this held it, that was created right here, held it right here, and also creating this higher 15-minute origin. So going back to the other side of the chart, I do see it rejecting right here. We hit it, could not hit that 15 origin at the top, but hit the 15, came down, tried to do it again, couldn't do it, failed, and therefore as well creating this next part of the ladder down. So I would expect if we are going to continue down, this needs to hold, and this at the bottom side creates a 15 down here. That should, maybe perhaps we can come up, test into it, and I'd be looking out for a continuation down from this point, down to test into these lower levels and see if anything holds down to, and possibly even going lower. So we need to probably watch on that. And this also created a small, very local trend right here to this point, I would say about right here, or even maybe up here, but I'm going to remove that for now, no need for that. So yeah, just wanted to update that. That was the levels. Looks like it, in those few moments after that last part of the video, it did start to move down, and after a hit of those top levels. So on a higher time frame, what's also interesting is that I was looking at previously, this 4-hour, right, which we did hard close. However, we did hard close above it. It did hard close right here, moving and creating a new 4-hour for us right here, which would be the next part of this move. And we do have a 4-hour down at the bottom that it also created as support. So we might probably linger here for a while until we get to this trend, and from there we'll see if this decides to break up or decides to go through trend and break it down. We'll see how this materializes.